Good morning, Standard 6. Today I'll be teaching you the poem Sea Fever, found on page number 71. Now, Sea Fever was written by a poet and his name is John Masefield. John Masefield not only wrote poems, he even wrote a number of novels. Now, they tell us that in this poem, Sea Fever, the very title Sea Fever tells us that maybe the poet was a sailor in his earlier days or was a sailor before he took to writing poems and novels. So they tell us that he feels like going back to the sea. So that urge to go back to the sea, the desire to go back to the sea, the longing to go back to the sea, that is why it is named as sea fever. I must go down to the seas again. So when he says I must go down to the seas again, he means to say long time back he was a sailor, he left the seas, he started writing. Now he feels like I want to go back to the sea again, to the lonely sea and the sky. He wants to go back to the lonely sea and the sky. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. Now the poet expresses his desire or his wish for the need of a nice, sturdy, strong ship to sail in the sea, and a star, that is the North Star or the Pole Star, which directs a sailor on his voyage. So he wants a star to help to guide the ship that he is traveling in. And the wheels kick and the wind's song and the white sails shaking. And the wheels kick. Now this ship will have a steering wheel. Now he wants the wheel to shake in such a way that he could turn the steering wheel of the ship and make the ship go ahead. And as the ship moves ahead, he would like to hear the sound of the wind. So that he calls as a wind song. And he would like to see the white sails shaking. The sail is a white cloth that helps to direct the wind, helps to direct the ship as it's sailing. So he wants to see the ship to move ahead. He wants to hear the wind song and he wants to see the sails shaking. He has that desire to be on the sea again. And a grey mist on the sea's face and a grey dawn breaking. He wants to be on the ship and he wants to see when he gets up early morning. When he says dawn breaking, when he gets up early morning, grey dawn morning means he wants to get up early morning when it's not even bright. He wants to get up early morning and he wants to see mist. You have kind of a smokish feeling. From the surface of the sea, he wants to see the mist, a dull finish on the surface of the sea. I must go down to the seas again for the call of the running tide. So he says, I want to go back to the sea again, and then I know I can hear something dangerous. A tide can take place. So when the tide is calling, at that time I need to go there to the sea. Is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. He says, I know that call, I can make out the clear call of a tide, and nobody can ever refuse that they do not know that it's high tide or it's tide going to take place. So at that time, I can clearly tell you when a tide is going to take place. I want to be there when the tide is happening. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying. He's saying, I just want the wind to keep blowing, and because of the wind, I want to see the clouds just moving as though they are flying. And the flung spray and the blown spume and the seagulls crying. He wants the spray of the waves to sprinkle on your face. When you move on the ship, you can feel the spray. You can feel small drops of water falling on your face. He wants to feel the spray, that is the water splashing against his face. He wants to see the blown spume, that he wants to see the froth when a wave comes, you have that soapy like thing at the end. He wants to see that. And he wants to see the seagulls crying. When you say seagull, seagull is a bird that comes to catch fish on the sea. And they make a sound as they fly. So he wants to hear even the sound of those birds on the sea. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life. He's saying, I want to go back to that life on the sea, and I just want to keep on moving around. It is so different. He says, I just want to be like a gypsy. A gypsy is a kind of person who keeps on traveling, never settles down, keeps on traveling. So he wants to just enjoy that difference in life, that variety in life where you keep roaming and roaming around and never settle down and have that monotonous life again. To the gull's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like a whetted knife. So he said, I want to go the way these seagulls fly, in that direction. I want to go how the whales move. I want to go along with them. I want to go to those areas where these seagulls are there, where the whales are there. And I want, there you can feel the wind blowing and it cuts your flesh like a sharp knife, he says. Like how the cold cuts the wind, no? So he compares the chill wind is like a sharp knife. It is so cold, it cuts you like a sharp knife, he says, the cold. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover. He's saying, as I'm traveling, I want one person who's traveling with me to keep on telling me stories, and it should be so funny. I want that person who's traveling with me, some laughing fellow rover. That means a nice jolly guy. I want him to just tell me a story. Merry yarn is a funny story as I'm traveling on the ship. And quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trip's over. At last, I want to go lay down and go to sleep, and then eternally end my life. I want to bring an end to my life, an eternal life. That means I want to die after that. This is the desire that the poet Masefield has.